Hello, everybody. My name is Malia, and I'm a real alcoholic. That is for sure. Um, I am 3 years, 2 months, 20 days, or 1,177 days away from my last drink. I have a sponsor. My sponsor has a sponsor. She knows she's my sponsor. I spend a lot of time on the phone with my sponsor. Thank God for sponsors. Um, like most folks in these rooms, I grew up around alcohol. I come from a long line of alcoholics. My house was always parties. I can remember being very, very young, taking drinks, running away down the hall with somebody's beer. Um, and it was funny to the adults. It wasn't something to be chastised. And so we never thought much of drinking. Um, and that's kind of how my youth was. I had some trauma when I was younger. I was molested for a couple of years by one of my mom's boyfriends, and I remember when I told my mom, she asked me why I was flirting with him, and she told me that I needed to stay away from him. I was 6 years old. Um, that was my mom. My mom was sick and suffering. My mom was drank a lot, and she never came through to the rooms. Unfortunately, she passed away from her addiction. Um, about 5 years ago, I lost my mom, but she wasn't really much of a mom. And that was not more apparent or evident if it wasn't when I was six, as it was when I was a teenager in high school. And as long as I stayed home, we were allowed to have wine coolers. She would buy wine coolers for myself and for my friends. And so drinking was a thing for me in high school. When I was 14, that was my first drunk. That was the first time I actually got drunk. And that was the first time that I went, oh, wait a minute. I don't feel shameful. I don't feel like I don't fit in. I don't feel like I need to hide in a corner. I became the fun girl, and I stayed the fun girl and always the fun girl. Um, I had my first child at a very, very early age. Her father was abusive, but that didn't start until after she was born. She was born at 25 weeks gestation. She was very, very premature. I was 19 years old when I gave birth to her. And at this point, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't partying really. And obviously then I found out I was pregnant, which, put a kibosh on any party and your drinking at all, until after I had her. Now, when I had her, I almost died. She almost died. She was so premature. It was a struggle, and it was rough. And I had to leave the hospital with my daughter still in the hospital in an incubator, not exactly certain if she was going to live or die. You would think this would have kicked off my drinking, but it did not. I did not drink at all, anything, until my second son was born and postpartum depression kicked in. I started drinking again. Um, it made the depression lighter. I could feed him formula. I didn't have to worry about it in my breast milk because, yay, who needed to breastfeed their babies when alcohol was necessary, right? I needed that alcohol so that I could feel like a human, so that I didn't feel like I just wanted to curl up in a ball and die and cry. And that's really kicked off my drinking. I look back at it now, how progressive this disease is. At the time, I didn't realize it. I went through a real tequila phase, and I was proud to be known as Tequila Mila. I would drink a gallon of that shit a day. And I was proud because I could drink all this tequila, and go out and do cartwheels and back handsprings. And I was just, the best when I was drinking. My kids thought I was the best when I was drinking. My friends thought I was the best when I was drinking. I thought I was. I knew I was. What are you talking about? And that's how my life went for a long time. I remember one night my husband and I, we'd been out, I'd been drinking and partying, and we got in a fight. Who knows about what? I don't even know. All I know is that he wouldn't stop the car, and so I decided I was going to get out of a moving vehicle. Now, granted, my kids are in the back seat, and our car is driving down the road, and I open the door and jump out. Why? I don't know. I was drunk and I was pissed. I didn't make the smartest choices. There are so many times that I should have been dead. Jumping out of a moving vehicle. I remember a time that I had taken the kids out to a movie and I decided we were going to be silly and we were going to dance in the fountain outside of the movie theater. Now, this isn't the only time I danced in a fountain. One time I got arrested for dancing naked in a fountain. We decided to dance in the fountain, and all of a sudden the cops are up there hollering at us to get out of the fountain. I'm mouthing off at the cops. I should have been arrested. My kids were right there. Like, what is this woman doing? By this time, I had three kids, three hostages, little hostages, as I like to call the people that were in my life at the time. I used to drive down roads when I lived in Illinois with a bottle of vodka underneath the car seat. And the roads are so naked. There's like nobody on the roads. They're so empty that I could grab that bottle out from underneath the seat and swig on it while I was driving and stick it back underneath the seat, and nobody was none the wiser. Except guess who? My kids in the car. I didn't deserve to have kids the way that I was, the way that I drank. I was holding down a job. I was paying the bills. The kids had extracurricular activities. We were very active as a family. I was very drunk 99% of the time. Very drunk. I don't remember when my kids started walking. I don't remember when my kids started talking. I don't remember so many things when my kids were growing up because I was drunk. And I thought it made me the cool mom. My son was 15 years old, drinking rum and smoking pot with mom on the porch. We would get so drunk, and then it'd be 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd decide to get in the car and drive 30 minutes to the next town over so that we can go to Steak and Shake and get us something to eat. That's not a way that a mom should be with her kids. I hate to say this, but there were some really good memories. I was drunk. The kids and I are dancing all over the house, having a good time. We had some good memories, but these aren't the kind of memories that kids need. You don't drink with your kids. Every relationship that I was in, I was abused by the man. And this became a cycle for me, and it almost feels like I sought it out because that's what I was used to. And as I look back on it now, that is exactly what happened. That's what I was used to. I was raised in a home that you screwed up, you got your ass beat. You go find your own switch. And if it's not a big enough, good enough switch, I'm going to go find it. You didn't want that to happen. My first husband, after my second was born, became very physically abusive. The verbal abuse, the mental abuse, the emotional abuse that I didn't recognize as abuse was first. Then the physical abuse started. And the physical abuse went for a couple of years until my son was 3 years old. And it was that night that he had me pinned down in the hallway and he went to punch me and he drew back. And all of a sudden, my son popped out of his bedroom and said, "Daddy, what are you doing?" I mean, to a 3-year-old, whatever they said, but got my husband's attention. It was after that I left and I didn't know what I was going to do. I'd been a stay-at-home mom my whole life. And I left. I had a great time. Now I'm divorced. Now I have a weekend where I have no kids. The kids are with their dad. And I can go to the bars and party and get drunk and get raped, beaten, and left for dead in the parking lot of my favorite bar. I was in the hospital for a week. My mom had to keep my kids. I, to this day, don't know who did it. The cops never found who did it. There was a lot of people in that parking lot. Somebody had to have seen something, but nobody said anything. Nobody even called the police. It wasn't until the closing bartender came out and found me beside my car. He called 911. I don't remember anything. I don't even remember the night. I don't remember. I remember arriving at the bar, and that's about the last thing that I remember because you pregame. You always pregame before the bar. And then you make sure that you have enough alcohol at the house so that you can post game after the bar. The amount of alcohol was insane. Well, along comes my third child, not planned, mind you. Obviously, at this stage of my life, I'm dating, I'm going out, I'm doing my thing, and I get pregnant. And here comes my third daughter. All right, we're doing this. So now I'm a mother of three, single, drinking every time I'm off work, every moment that I don't have to work. I hadn't started putting it in my coffee yet at this point, though. And I didn't have a problem. I did what everybody did. You leave work, you go out for drinks. I'd go home and just finish drinking. I thought everybody did that. That's what I saw growing up. That's what happened. No, my kids left. I was out on the town getting myself into trouble. And then I met my second hostage, my second husband. He was 19 years old and I was 28. And it didn't seem to be a problem to me that he was 19. I didn't really care. He liked me. He was fun. He was young. I decided I needed a boy toy. I was done with relationships, right? I needed a boy toy. 5 years later, we walked down the aisle. 2 years after that, I find him sleeping with my best friend in my swimming pool while I was in the bedroom reading my daughter a story to go to sleep. I threw his belongings out in the middle of the road. And my daughter woke up and she's helping me throw his belongings out into the middle of the road. What are we doing, Mommy? We're helping Ryan move out of the house, that fucker. As I'm drunk and throwing everything out into the street, making a big scene. She's helping me. Here she's toddling along with things, throwing them out in the street too. This is the life I gave my kids, you guys. Well, I grew up with a higher power, right? My mom was religious for all of her. Go figure. She was very into church. As kids grew up going to Sunday school. I was at a point where so many things had happened in my life that I thought it was God. I thought I was being punished for something. My mom had always told me that I was Satan's child, that I was a hellion, that I was awful, that I was going to hell, that I was a whore. I really believed I was going to hell. And I really believed that this all punishing God was punishing me. That all the bad things that happened in my life, the houses that I lost, the husbands, that God was punishing me because I was Satan's child, that I was Satan's daughter. So we were in Illinois, and I took the kids to move to Illinois as we tried to run from our problems. I tried to run from everything and everybody and get into a new environment and show my kids what small town life is. They say what? Get away from people, places, and things. The only thing is when you're an alcoholic, you can get away from the people, places, and things, But the one thing that is your problem follows you. It's right there looking at you in the mirror. I'm in a different state. Look at this. New people, places, things. Guess what? I'm still here. Hello, Malia. You're the effing problem. No, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. We ended up being put in protective custody so that we can get out of the state. And we had people that were helping us pull together the funds to rent a truck, get our stuff, get out of Illinois, get back to Arizona, and start again, yet again, because that's what we did with this alcoholic mom. We get back to Arizona. I drove a 22-foot Penske with my car trailing behind it and two kids in the passenger seat. One kid was already in Arizona. She flew ahead. Two kids in the passenger seat of the truck, and we drove from Illinois to Arizona. We documented our whole trip. Now, I was sober this whole trip until I got drunk on Monsters. I did not know that you can get drunk on Red Bull and Monster, but boy, I found that out on this trip because I didn't sleep. I ended up drunk on Red Bull and Monsters. We get to Arizona. We're in Arizona for 18 hours. I'm sober as a lark. It's 9:30 in the morning. I had just picked up my son from his friend's house. He stayed the night there. We were going to go get our new place that we were renting. We're in my Honda Accord two-door Sportster. This man driving a Toyota Tundra going over 100 miles an hour ran a red light and slammed my car in the intersection. My son went out the windshield. My daughter went out the back window. My daughter died on impact. I was trapped in the vehicle with the engine on me. We flew across the intersection, obviously. My son was in the street dying. When they got to my son to the hospital, he had a Glasgow coma score of 0. He was dead. They literally put him on life support and pretty much wrote him off. I'm sorry. My youngest daughter died on impact, and they couldn't get me out of the car for a while. My son today is 31, healthy. He's active alcoholic. He's an active drug user. He blames me for the car accident, but he came out of that coma. He learned how to walk. He had to learn how to feed himself. He had to learn how to take care of himself again a little bit. He had some recovery that he went through. This scene catapulted my drinking. Catapulted my drinking. Now it wasn't tequila and vodka. I went to the whiskey, the good stuff too. I was putting it in my coffee. I was drinking it all day long. I was taking my son to do his therapy while I'm half blitzed because I can't handle the fact that I wake up every single morning and my daughter's dead. That God decided to punish me to the point that I didn't deserve my kids, so he took one away from me. And I hated him. I hated him. People would say at this point, this was the first time in my life that people said to me, Malia, you think you're drinking a little bit much? Maybe cut back a little bit? And my answer literally was, put your child in a little white coffin in the ground, and then you come and talk to me about alcohol. I will drink what the fuck I want when I want because I deserve it. I didn't go back to God after that. I thought, this is the kind of God that y'all have? I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. This was in 2011. I spent the next 11 years drinking so much, trying to kill myself with alcohol. I tried to commit suicide several times, several ways. I tried cutting, I tried pills. I had a gun when I was found and didn't get obviously far with that one either. The pills didn't work. The cutting didn't work each time I was found. My daughter, my oldest daughter, got into this program and she kept telling me, Mom, I want you to come to a meeting with me. Come to a meeting with me, Mom. No, I got things to do as I'm chugging out of my whiskey bottle. But Mom, you can go on Zoom. You don't have to get on camera. You don't have to talk. Come to a meeting. No, as I'm chugging out of my whiskey bottle. I got things to do. Leave me alone. March 25th, 2022, the cops were called to my house for domestic violence. My husband had a gun on me, and somebody saw through a window. And there, next thing you know, there's all these police that show up. They took me out of the trailer, and I had nowhere to go. And they weren't going to make him leave the house. Since we were married, we joint owned it. He's staying. I had to find someplace else to go. I had no place else to go. I am so drunk. I don't even remember half of what happened that night. But I do remember that they put me in a trailer that was falling apart, that had been left and abandoned. And it was just dirt floors and holes in the roof, but there was a couch in there that I could lay on to sleep if I wanted to. And it was a place to go. My daughter was going to come pick me up in the morning, so I only needed to be there overnight, and I was desperate. I was so desperate. I was desperate. My life had fallen apart yet again. Yet again, I've got the police taking me out of a home due to domestic violence. Yet again, I'm doing this. Yet again, I am so drunk. I can't hardly stand up, and my life is falling apart around me. It's on fire, burning down to the ground. I remember being in that little trailer. And I remember there's no alcohol. I have no cigarettes. I'm so freaking pissed off at the world right now. I didn't want to be alive, and fell to my knees in the dirt. God, why won't you let me die? I can't do this anymore. I give up. I give up. You do it. You do it. I just want to die. I just want to die. I heard a voice in the darkness say, "Why aren't you dead yet?" And all of a sudden I felt like a warm hug. I felt like something had just enveloped me and wrapped me around in their arms and was holding me so warm and so close and so tight. And I felt safe, and I felt aware, and I felt peace. In that moment, God took over. God took over. The very next day, I went to my first AA meeting. I went to that Zoom meeting with my daughter. I didn't talk. I didn't turn on my camera. But they saw me come in. It was a small meeting. And they said, "Welcome home, Malia. Welcome home." And I lost it. I was bawling. I found my people. Don't ask me how from just being said, welcome home, that I found my people. I knew I'd found my people. I don't know. All I know is that the feeling that overwhelmed me. And then my sponsor, they say, get a sponsor, get in the big book, do your steps, get to a home group, and do service. I got a sponsor right off the bat. I was hungry. I was hungry. I was given the gift of desperation from day one. I wanted this so bad because I didn't want my life to be what it was anymore. I thought this program was going to teach me how to live a life that wasn't like this. I didn't know y'all were going to make me stop drinking for good. Welcome home. That's what it took. I got sober on Zoom, and I got sober in a house full of alcohol where I ended up staying. Um, and that was rough. And there were some rough things, man. The first 2 years were rough. I lost a sister that first year. I would have drank had I not been with my boyfriend, who is now my current husband, in the program 5 years. I was with another friend who's in the program. She's got 22 years. If my sister hadn't passed away while I was on that vacation, I would have drank, but I didn't. I was surrounded with this program. That gift of desperation has helped keep me surrounded in this program because I do service, because I want to live now. I have 2 children. I have a beautiful relationship with my daughter. My son doesn't speak to me right now. He blames me for the car accident. He blames me for his sister's death. He's actively using and he's been very, very mean to me. I'm hoping that someday we can mend our relationship. But my daughter and I have a beautiful relationship now. I have a relationship with my brothers now. I have friends that I get to show up for now. Most importantly, I don't want to drink. I don't even want to drink. Life's not easy and it's not perfect. And there's some things that happen. Some shit happens sometimes. That's what life is about. But today I don't have to drink. I know I don't have to drink because I was given a program, freely given the tools that I need to stay sober. You know, I was told, be where your feet are. Don't leave before the miracle happens. Think, think, think. Um, all the things that we get told in the beginning that we're like, what are you even talking about? Stop saying these things to me. I don't want to hear any more of this. But now I get to say it to other people. I get to say it to newcomers. I get to say it to sponsees. I get to give away what has been given to me and this beautiful life and the promises. Now I've gone from no home, no belongings, no family, no friends, to a home, a vehicle, friends, family, blessings that I can't even count today, and they're not even materialistic. I like me. I have a God of my understanding, a higher power whom I choose to call God. My sponsor told me that I was allowed to be mad at God, that it was okay, that I could even yell and scream and holler, and he would still love me and he would still want me. She told me of a God that was a good God, a gracious God, a kind God, a loving God. And she told me I could borrow her God. So I threw my mom's God out the door and I borrowed her God. And if not by the grace of that God, I know right now I am sitting here before you today, 3 years and a bit sober, after many, many, many years of trying to kill myself with alcohol. It works if you work it. I don't want to tell you to stick and stay, or I don't want to tell you to keep coming back. I want to tell you to stick and stay. I want to tell you to stick and stay. Stay in the middle of the herd because this disease is out here doing push-ups waiting for me. It's waiting to get me alone so that it can kill me. It wants me dead. And I know if I go back out there, that's exactly how it's going to end up. I've already done the institutions. I was the grandma in jail. I've done jails, institutions. The only thing that I have left is death, and that will be my fate. So I have to be part of the no matter what club, and I cling to my gift of desperation like nobody's business. But I just want you to remember this program works. Keep coming back, stick and stay. You slip, get back on that horse and get back in these rooms. Not everybody makes it back. Thank you guys for listening to me today. And if I didn't help you, I hope I helped somebody. If not, I hope I didn't harm anybody. So thank you very much.